Okay. We are live once again, Common Ground Light Edition today. With Katie and I holding up the fort while others are apparently eating with their families. I mean, I don't even know what to say. My kids are literally at the store right now just to buy candy. I think that's all they're going to buy. Maybe some chips or something like that. That's the whole reason they left the house, was to go buy junk food because there isn't any in the house. So maybe that's good on me as a parent that they have to go hunt and forage for bad food because there isn't any in the house. Maybe, I don't know. Katie, what is the least healthiest thing that your kids have available to them in the house right now?
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez. That they have well, I mean, we did just get back from the store with party favors that included candy for a birthday party this weekend.
That's planned, though. They can't crack into that.
Okay, yeah, ice cream.
Fair.
We have two half-gallons of Bluebell in there.
Bluebell. Do you guys, are you brand loyal to that one? Because that's a good brand.
Yes.
How did you feel during the whole blackout when they had whatever it was that there was bacteria or something like that? And they had to shut the whole thing down.
Learned something new about Katie. So one of my good friends, Paige, she'll get a laugh out of this when she watches this. But I work out pretty much every single day. I do my best to eat really healthy, but ice cream and Oreos are my nemesis. Okay. So when Bluebell was down, it was an Oreo fiesta in my house.
That's funny.
Yeah,
there isn't a plan B out of Bluebell.
Oreos. Oreos is plan B.
Okay, fair enough. But I mean, there's
no other ice cream.
There's no other ice cream that works.
No.
Dryers and Briars are maybe kind of a close, but they're not the same.
No, texture's completely different.
I was pleased to see Texas let them back in. This is a gross story, but when I was in high school, there were 2 Taco Bells, and being a high school kid, Taco Bells are pretty popular. It's cheap food, right? Especially this would have been,
and it's open at 2 a.m.
That's right. Yeah. So when you're off of weird hours, because young people work weird hours, you can go and get tacos, and I don't know what that stuff cost back in the late 80s when I was doing that, but it was
89 cents for a Mexi Melt.
Is that what it was? Do you remember Taco Lights?
No.
I'll get to the grossness of the story in a second, but we got to talk about Taco Lights because they were a thing. So do you remember Cinnamon Crispas? Not the stupid little styrofoam twisty things that they have now, but the actual chip ones?
No.
You were not. Okay, so here's the thing.
Mean, I didn't get a Taco Bell in Mandeville, Louisiana until 1998, maybe?
Okay. All right. That would have been, you were right when they were losing these things. Okay, so the cinnamon twists that Taco Bell sell now are an abomination to their parent, what they used to be. What they used to be is, I think it was just fried corn, flour tortillas. But they fried up really light and bubbly, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Super, like shatteringly crispy. And then they had a big bin of cinnamon sugar, and they would dump them in there hot from the fryer, so a little oily, and then the cinnamon sugar would stick to them. That's what you got. It was like hot fried chips that happen to be covered in cinnamon sugar. And then when you're done, you've got this like little cocaine line of cinnamon sugar and chip bit stuff at the bottom of the bag that you could just hit at the end.
Yeah, just drink it up.
Oh man. It was so good. So that's the first part. And then the other one that they had was called Taco Light. I hope somebody watches this and who is old enough.
I have to Google this while you're telling me about it.
Yeah, see if you can find Taco Bell Taco Light. It was a bigger taco. It was bigger. It was like this big, and so it was a meal size. You would, because I could eat little tacos, you like 3 of those. Anyways,
during the 1980s, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Look at this beard. Look at this beard. Do I seem like I'm talking about recent times? Anyways, is there a picture?
There. It looks like a taco.
No. Taco Light. Oh my gosh.
Taco Light. Here, let me.
It is so much more than a taco.
Let's get this link up in here. Look, we had some pretty pretty hard conversations over the last couple of weeks. So I think everybody's probably happy to hear us talking about taco lights.
Yeah, and I haven't even got to the gross part of the story yet. That
Oh.
that took it down from 2 tacos to 1 taco.
Here you go. Oh, Steven, I think we can find common ground on Oreos. I would agree. Yeah.
Yes, for
I know
sure.
Steven likes his Oreos
Okay,
too.
there we go.
See, it looks like a taco.
It's the shell. So here's the thing. It's not hard in the sense that a corn taco is hard. It's like the cinnamon crispas in that it almost shatters. It's
Got it.
crispy, but it's light, and there's a little bit of dense, like, thickness to it, but not in weight, only in material thickness.
And the shell, when bitten into, would never splinter down the taco. Why would anyone get rid of a taco shell that doesn't split down the middle and fall completely to pieces?
And it was friggin' delicious. It was like the thing, like, yeah, like you would take a bite and then, like, you would have a perfect little mouth bite because the shell just yields to you. It just wants to be consumed. It was the best thing. Taco lights and cinnamon crispas were 2 of the best things. The only thing that remains from the olden days that is still satisfying that I think most people overlook is pintos and cheese. That is really good. It's only $1. It's just a cup of pinto beans and cheese and hot sauce. But you get some chips on the side and you're good to go, man. Also, Taco Bell is one of the few chains that still does Pepsi over Coke, which I don't drink soda anymore, but back in the day, that was my preference.
Yeah, I remember when Pepsi, and I don't remember which one of them launched it, but Pepsi and Coke, you would go to the mall and you could blind taste Pepsi versus Coke to see who would win. No, Coke always wins. Of course, I don't drink it either. Yeah. But I stopped drinking it when I learned that soda generally has to have enough acid in it to physically prevent your body from ejecting it the moment you try to swallow it. So I figured my body probably doesn't need that.
When I worked at my grandparents, I still have to finish talking about the story, but when I worked at my grandparents' restaurant, I basically lived there for all my childhood. I went into college and adult life and things like that. Got another job when I was 20. Anyways, I don't think I drank water maybe for 10 years. Like, the whole time I worked there. Yeah, if I drank water, it was probably from the drinking fountain at school, but that would have been it. Like, there was water. Okay, so this is another thing that's odd in our modern era, right? I can remember when a McDonald's large was a McDonald's medium, like the tall skinny cup. That was large, right? And like the small drink was the kid size. And
it was small, yeah.
Yeah, this whole concept of, like, hydrate, and there's water bottles like everywhere. There weren't water bottles in the 80s. You would just drink out of the hose or you were thirsty.
Yeah.
So working at the restaurant, there was just always Dr. Pepper around, like, for free. But it did a number on me for a while. Which is why I don't drink soda at all anymore. It's unsweet tea right here. Or by the way, these guys, McDonald's, you can hack on them for unhealth all you want. They make good tea. And it's brewed from leaves, and it's only $1.
From real leaves.
Mm-hmm.
How did we get here?
Listen, if you go to one of those places that like, you want to find out if your tea is garbage or not, like, let it sit around. Watch what happens to it if you forget about a cup, like, somewhere the back of your
nightstand. All the sediment comes down to the bottom.
It turns into gel. Like the
never
stuff
seen that happen.
The stuff that comes out of the fountain. Well, regular tea made from leaves doesn't. It just stays there. But the tea that comes out of the fountain, where it must be a concentrate getting mixed with water, seems soda. If it sits, like, the tea material refines itself and separates from the water phase and becomes like this gelatinous, and it stains the cup. Whereas, so anyways, that's why I say made out of leaves, because the places that are just doing like we got raspberry iced tea and it's from the thing.
Oh yeah.
That's not tea. That's brown water that's made like soda.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let me finish the Taco Bell story. So there
Okay.
were two Taco Bells in town, right? In the 80s, there were two Taco Bells. And a rumor went around that somebody took a dump in the beans at one particular Taco Bell. And this, this is just the most interesting social news that could be available in the mid 80s to high school people. So that you can imagine how that rumor just spread like wildfire throughout the youth of the town. And if the kids aren't eating Taco Bell, that Taco Bell's not staying open. So that one went out of business entirely on the rumor that somebody had deuced in the refried beans.
I wouldn't eat there either.
It was gone.
Sorry, Taco Bell.
And what's weird is that in the years that have gone by, the other Taco Bell, which was built like the old ones, it had it was all like cinder block, but it was made to look like a casa or something,
Yeah.
and the windows are all half domes, old timey. That building is still there when I go visit my family. That Taco Bell is still there, but it's like a donut place now, or they just keep it becomes something different, but it still looks exactly like a Taco Bell, even though you walk in and now they sell donuts or whatever it is that they're selling. Kind of funny. Once a Taco Bell, always a Taco Bell.
Same with Pizza Hut.
Yes, that has changed over the years too,
Mm-hmm.
with the whole pizza parlor thing. Hey, okay, so here's the thing to talk about. Your kids what's the age range of your kids?
11, almost 15, and 19.
All right, so yeah, you're good. So you're right. Exactly the question I wanted to ask. Do you find that if you have a group of bored children in your home at that age range, that they have aged out of everything that is like family friendly? Like there's when they're little, you could take them to kids museums, or you could take them to a playground, or you could do whatever. But what do you do with 15-year-olds?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Nothing.
That's tough. The best we've found, well, we do board games at dinner almost every night.
You guys are awesome. I mean, out of the house. That's pretty cool, though.
Oh, well, we don't go out of the house much. Okay. We go to the store, we do our basic shopping or whatever, but everybody's so involved. It's just hard to get, out of the house. But when we do stuff, we have their cousins are much younger than they are. And we've done like the Crayola factory, and we pick oranges and things like that. And they'll have fun when the little kids are there, but doing that by themselves. Yeah, that's like,
right. Sorry. We noticed that as our kids got older that we started moving into this dead zone.
Mm-hmm. They come back.
Yeah, well, it's not so much them and their attitudes and things, although that's some of the issue too. But it's like the world of family fun doesn't embrace families that are just full of teenagers.
Unless you're on vacation.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, because then you could just turn them loose at a water park or something like that. But
yep.
But just hanging around town, because when you got 5 of them, as we do nowadays, it's not so much trouble because they've got other transportation, they've got jobs, they've got stuff going on, so life is not a problem anymore in that way. But when they were like, say, 12 to 16, those are when you have a house full of bored 14-year-olds, that's a problem.
Yeah,
because something's probably going to get caught on fire or something.
I was going to say I got into trouble when I was
a board game every night.
Most nights.
That is completely admirable. And how are you pulling that off? When it gets to game moment, who's the one that's getting the boards out, or like say, okay, who's coordinating this?
Is it me or my youngest?
Got it. And then everybody else willingly comes in.
My son, when he's home from college, is like, like he doesn't. He'll do it, but he doesn't really. He'll find ways to lose.
Oh, to opt out. I got it.
Yeah. And then my middle, my almost 15-year-old, she's pretty good about it. If she's available, but lately this year it's me and my 11-year-old, and we just, everybody else is gone. They all have things.
That's really
So
cool. My kids have the sentiment of that, but then it never seems to manifest in anything. We tried, and it doesn't. Like I bought I some really cool like I have this problem that when I want to buy something, I obsess about it for 3 months before I make the purchase, so that I can, you know what I mean? Like I was like, we need some poker chips, and I could have just gone to Walmart and spent $5 and bought little
yep.
pieces of plastic and then have been done with it. But then I'm like sitting up until 2 o'clock in the morning, poring over like the chemical composition of like the clay ones that they
The
use
right
in Las
weight.
Vegas. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, well, I don't own them yet, and once I do, I don't want to have buyer's remorse. Like I want the right ones. So it turns out the right ones, the real right ones, are kind of expensive. So
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. But there is a weight range that matters. So, anyways, I got
Mhm.
some cool cards, and I got some poker chips with this kind of concept that maybe I can lure them into like playing cards and betting with poker chips. They would like that a little bit more,
Yeah.
and
Dartboard.
concept that they did. Oh, I hadn't thought about weaponry. It's a good
We
one.
have a real like steel tip dartboard outside.
That's cool.
My
I
youngest was like, "Am I old enough to use this?" I was like, "Yeah, go for it." She loves it.
there's a Canadian pub. I want to look it up. Pub Houston. I find the name of it. Maple Leaf Pub.
Yeah,
Have you've been?
I
Have you
think
been?
so.
Where they have the dartboard area on the side. They have a trivia night. I
Yes,
don't.
is that one on Richmond? Look, here
Elgin.
we are doing. These are all of ours. These are the common. This is Common Ground sponsor night.
Yeah, for sure. It's on Elgin. Let me see the map. Anyways, the reason I mentioned this because we uh, we used to when the kids were younger, and this faded out as we moved here to Texas as they were getting older. But we used to do. I think I mentioned this before. We used to do guys' night and girls' night.
Yeah,
It used to just be I would take the boys out, Rochelle would take the girls out, and then we realized that they were each missing something interesting from the other side.
right.
So then we would alternate every week, would flip it. And so one of the weeks I had with I think it was with the boys. Um, I called this place and asked them if it was okay to bring kids there, and they it was early enough in the evening. It wasn't a problem. They have a trivia night that apparently is adult trivia. So they're like, as long as you clear by 8 o'clock, it's fine. Then it also happened to be like their steak night, like it was Thursday or something. So we went early, and they had ginger ale in bar glasses, and we all split a steak, and because nobody really wanted steak, but we just ordered it, and then we learned how to play darts. Well, they learned how to play darts there
That's
at that
cool.
little place. It was a really cool evening.
Life skills.
Yes. Oh, and my gosh. Okay, this is gonna make me really unpopular, by the way. But have you been to the Breakfast Club?
That one. Okay. Yes, I actually went with. Yeah, I went to the Breakfast Club
Tell me
a
your
while back.
experience. Tell me your
So this
experience,
is.
and then tell me. I'm gonna
Oh
tell you
wait, no,
why
no, no.
why I hate
Wait.
it so much.
No, I didn't go to the Breakfast Club. I went to a different place that is like the Breakfast Club, and they show cartoons, like old school cartoons, on all the TVs all day long.
You went to Market Bar
Maybe so.
In Phoenicia, across the street from Discovery Green on Saturday morning.
It was close-ish. Yeah, it was by the House of Blues over there. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
That's Market Bar next to
Hmm.
in Phoenicia. That they do pajamas and
Yep.
cartoons on every Saturday morning.
Yep.
That is I have two favorite places to go and hang out from a culinary cooking food. I go to grocery stores like people go to the mall. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna go look at shoes or hats. I want to go look at broccoli or whatever. Anyways, so um the one is Central Market on Westheimer, which is just brilliant. I take people there when they come from out of state. It's one of my favorite places. Anywhere in the United States, it's one of my favorite places. But the other one that's really good is Phoenicia, that place where you were, and they have the Market Bar there on the side.
Hmm.
That now closes early because of COVID. They have less traffic or whatever, which kind of bummed me
Mm.
out the last time we were there. And the secret about Phoenicia is that that's right at Discovery Green, man. It is hard to park there. But that building that they're in is a condo, and they've
Hmm.
got parking inside, and it's free.
Didn't know
So
that.
and there's an elevator entrance directly into the grocery store in the parking garage.
Hmm.
So if you are ever going to go, I wouldn't advise pushing this too hard, like I would be there all day, but like
Yeah.
if you were gonna you're gonna go walk around the green, maybe they've got an event or something like that going on, and you're gonna want to like have a soda or a drink or whatever, a snack or something like that, then you roll in the parking garage for Phoenicia. You park by the elevators, you pop out right at the on the other side of the registers, there's a little
Hmm.
hallway, and you go buy whatever you're going to buy. You exit out the front, go have a lovely evening at Discovery Green, and do whatever you're going to do. And then we've
Nice.
done this 50 times. It's one of our favorite. Jesse wants to live in that building. We've done it so many times. She just loves it down there.
That's cool.
When they refurbed it for the Super Bowl, we were there for that. And then when the college basketball Final Four was here a few years ago, they had a free concert that was let me see if I can remember. It was Fallout Boy, Panic at the Disco,
Yeah.
two others I can't remember at the minute. Free concert with four like really heavy bands. It was amazing. It was amazing. All right. So can I tell you why I hate Breakfast Club?
Oh yeah.
It really offends me, this place. Here's why. You should
I'm
go
gonna
to
have
their
to go just because it offends you.
Yes, right. Go to the website. It'll offend you when you go there too. Go to their website. Oh, there's no pricing. Of course there's not. The Breakfast Club menu prices. Okay. Here's the thing about this place that bugs the crap out of me. Um all right, I'm going to try and phrase this in a way that's not going to get a bunch of hate. But we live in a community, broadly America, that is struggling with race, right? We have been for a long, long time.
Okay.
And that struggle I don't think is any better now. Maybe sometimes I think we're like still struggling almost with like in some places I don't think Jim Crow is entirely gone. You know what I mean? From a full legality perspective, maybe not, but certainly socially, like we struggle with race in this country, not just the black community, but we struggle with it across the board. If you
Sure.
do not look like the tribe, then you're going to be in trouble. Whoever happens to be the tribe that's judging in the moment, right?
Aren't we all judging, Chris? Aren't
Yes,
we
we are.
all
We are. And I'm
judging?
about to
Okay.
judge the living hell out of Breakfast Club. So here's the thing about this place. Um, I and I'll start with a parallel. I like barbecue. I like the history of it. I have books on the topic. I like smoked meats. I like recipes that are slow and that take a long time, that have a lot of history to them. And did you know there's so many rabbit trails on this? Did you know that back in the day of like pirates and the high seas hijinks and that sort of thing, that they would the buccaneer type folks who would go to these little islands, these little atolls that had wild pigs on them because of the whole Columbian exchange thing or whatever. Columbus was an idiot and he brought pigs everywhere. They had no natural predators, and so all of a sudden you got pigs all over the place. So don't even get me started with Columbus and the Pilgrims. It's a whole other thing. Anyways, so they would capture these pigs, and then there was a lot of green like bamboo type stuff, and they would build these big green wood barbecue things out on the beach. That's where they would cook the pigs. And these structures that they would build were called boucanes. And that's why buccaneers are called buccaneers, because
Hmm.
of the thing they cooked with on the beach on these little atolls when they would capture these wild pigs. The point of it is that a lot of those foods, particularly barbecue, the reason it's brisket, the reason it's pork butt, is because it was the food that wasn't for the rich, right? You know the phrase eating high on the hog. You ever heard that phrase? Eating high on the hog. What it means is that it means you're eating fancy, you're eating wealthy.
Got it.
Yeah. But what it means is that you're eating the loin, you're eating the top part of the pig that's expensive.
Okay.
right? The poor parts of the pig are the trotters and the feet and the the shoulders and the tough meat. You know what I
The
mean?
stuff that I use in my red beans and rice. Yeah.
Right.
I
Well,
know what
so
you're talking
yeah,
about.
so red beans and rice is a good example of a dish. Red beans and rice should be cheap. Fundamentally,
Yeah,
historically,
and it
that's what it's
is.
about.
You
It
can get it
is.
anywhere in New Orleans. You're going to pay $4.50 for a bowl. And you're
Go.
full.
I'm gonna post this right here.
I'm on the menu for the Breakfast Club.
Did you
TBK
find Did you find one with the? I don't think they've
with
gotten.
prices. Yeah.
They have prices. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool. I
here. Hold on.
didn't see.
So everybody can see
Yeah, I had to go look it up.
pricing. There you go.
Oh, you found a PDF. Well done. How do I? Oh, can I click on that? Can I highlight that? Oh, I see. When I click show, it comes up on the screen. That's cool. How do I? Chris is the sus expert. What does that mean? I'm an expert at being suspicious. I'm not sure I can entirely disagree with that. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. I don't have to go over to. Anyways, the point of the story is this: how much? Now, catfish is supposed to be cheap too, right? They're plenteous here in the South. So you look it up for yourself. What's catfish and grits cost?
Catfish and grits. I see wings and grits. Catfish and grits. $15.75. Yeah, for grits. Look, it's all about the preparation.
No, that's the most expensive. Okay, here's the unpopular opinion. Are you ready? Just breathe that you're going to really hate this.
Oh,
This is going to make you feel very uncomfortable. That place, when you go there and you look at who is eating there, that place is milking white guilt for $15 a plate to sell white folks catfish and grits. They are. It bugs the crap out of me.
Raising my hand.
Are you triggered?
So, okay. So we were looking up, the 7 do's and don'ts of becoming a billionaire earlier before we went live, right? And one of them was you have to be and you have to invent and you have to be an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
My older brother is an entrepreneur through and through, does an amazing job of it. So when I have an idea and I'm like, hey, this would be amazing, I go straight to my brother. I'm like, hey, this would be amazing. One of those ideas was I went through this phase where I was making all of these like a crazy array of different types of Southern biscuits.
Okay.
So I was going to do a food truck with all these biscuits. I think I told you about this a while back. I swear I was like, I know how much it costs to make these biscuits. It's like, I was convinced that the return would be amazing. My brother was like, no, nothing in the food service industry. Don't get it out of your brain. Go throw it away, whatever. What do you think the average return or the average profit margin is on a restaurant?
30%. Am I above or low? It was 30% at my grandparents' place.
I'm talking average.
Oh, I wouldn't even know whether to go up or down. I'll guess worse. 20%.
Keep going.
10?
Keep going.
Yikes.
This one resource I'm looking at on the Google right now says 2 to 6% is average.
Is profit after all expenses are paid, I would presume, even at owner salaries. Okay. Okay. Money to reinvest back in the business or whatever.
2 to 6% is average. Yeah. So when it's a crazy price, but are they making money? Are they profitable? Is that the intent and purpose of a restaurant like that? Can I go to the store and make my own catfish and grits
You can.
cheaper? Absolutely. But I don't get the ambiance and, whatever.
Oh, no. Okay. So here's the thing. If I went in there,
Jeez, Chris, really?
If I went in there and
I really put that comment in there,
I didn't start it. Somebody else started it. Somebody else started it. I was only who said that? Some Facebook user. I don't know. I'm here to stir the pot. Anyways, if I had walked into that place and I saw tables that somebody took me to, and I had a server, and my tea got refilled, and the presentation was amazing, then it would be one thing. But it wasn't. It was, they hand you a menu in line because it's so busy. They want you to order fast, so they walk out to the line outside and they're handing out menus to people. And you get up to the line and you order at the register, and they give you your little number thing, like a, just order at a kind of joint. And then they give you empty cups. You fill your own drinks. They've got a bus tub with silverware in it. You go get your own silverware. There's a condiment wall where you go. Basically, they just bought groceries and sat it up in a place, and they're like, there you go, $14.
But it's America. You can choose not to go.
I haven't.
You don't have.
I haven't. I went twice just to make sure I was as enraged as I thought I was, and I am. I feel the same way. I know. I don't. It just bothers me. It bothers me when I go to a barbecue place and they're selling pork butt for $14 a pound or something like that. Like, yes, you can, but
they cooked it overnight.
But yes, they did. They sure did. Because food for me connects to more than just like, it's more than just a meal. I'm paying attention to, like, it, not paying, it's the wrong word. It matters to me how it's made. It matters to me the history that comes up behind it. And to take something that it was fundamentally for people without means and to turn it into elitist food, it just bothers me. It bothers me fundamentally that they're selling pancakes for $14. It says $13.75. How much are the pancakes on your end? I can't click that link. 3 pancakes with 2 eggs and the sausage.
Pancakes and a waffle. Yeah, pancakes and a waffle, $14.75. 3 pancakes, 1 Belgian waffle, 2 eggs, choice of sausage, bacon, ham, or turkey. Mm-hmm. Let's also talk about the ingredients that they're using, though. So I often find, not all the time, but in Houston, I find that there is a trend where if I go to a restaurant where I'm going to pay $14.75 for 3 pancakes and a waffle, that I might also be getting fresh fruit that doesn't taste like it was doused in chemicals.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's that too.
There better be 3 pancakes, 2 eggs, and a $10 bill tucked underneath that somewhere.
I mean, can't the people make some money? Just a little?
They can. I don't have a problem with expensive restaurants. I go to expensive restaurants. I have
just
a problem.
Not this one.
I have a problem. Where they have taken a community's food, but this is predominantly a Black community menu, right? That is historically, right? And they have overpriced it for white folks.
Okay, well, let's go through this menu here. Pork chops and eggs, green eggs and ham. I'm pretty sure none of us grew up eating it, but we all grew up reading about it. It's what?
It's Southern food.
Southern, yeah, but Southern doesn't necessarily equate. I mean, these are like, I look at these things and like I grew up on this stuff.
Well, you grew up in rural Louisiana.
Grew up in New Orleans, Metairie.
But we have to be in agreement that the Breakfast Clubs they're a market. It's Black owned, it's Black operated, and
the Breakfast Club is,
yeah, and it's fantastic. I don't have an issue with them making money. It only just the food offends me. Just the food, that they are taking something that is supposed to be available because it's inexpensive to everybody. Anybody should be able to afford biscuits and gravy. Anybody should. But their biscuits and gravy is like $10.
Yeah, but I think
it's a ripoff. It's not even good biscuits and gravy. It's just biscuits and gravy. They're not even trying. I just don't like it. I feel icky when I'm there. I've done it twice just to make sure that it was, wasn't.
I think I know where I'm going for breakfast this weekend.
Yeah, you go and you should look around at these entitled white folks eating catfish and grits and feeling like somehow they're, we don't have to do reparations anymore because I ate grits this weekend. It just bugs me. There's something fundamentally wrong with the way the Breakfast Club is either
So you have
charging a group of people, or their people are going there because they think it's something. It's like they're visiting Blacktown. It just offends me that it even exists that way.
why?
I don't know. I feel like
I mean,
it cheapens the food. It cheapens the culture to
I
turn
I
it into like an amusement park for come visit black food. Like it offends me. I mean, I have a black son. The fight for equality is essential to me. This matters to me a lot. And when I go to a place like that, I don't feel like I feel like they are exploiting they're exploiting a negative underside of the American racist culture, that I don't think needs to be I don't think it needs to be recognized. Even I think recognized is the wrong word. I think it should be stamped out, not sold $14 eggs.
So let me ask you this. I want you to go. Let's see. I'm going to send you another menu here.
Mhm.
1 second. Menu. Let's play a little bit of music here. Let's just take a look at this, and no, we need the whatchamacallit, the pricing. Why do these people leave all their prices off?
Oh, you know why?
Because they want you to come into the place.
Right. And order your food and be like, breakfast for 4 was $90. What?
Yeah. So I'm looking up another broken egg cafe.
Oh, I just saw this the other day. I haven't been.
Yeah. So I'm just going to kind of open up their menu here. However, I can't really. There we go. PDF.
Broken Egg Cafe. On this topic, by the way, I fundamentally think, from a business and entrepreneurial perspective, first of all, your biscuit food truck idea was good. I support it, because I think biscuits are hecka cheap to make, and they're very satisfying. And you can give very large portions, and it doesn't really cost you anything at all.
See, I thought it was a good idea too.
Yeah.
All right.
I make a ripping good biscuit, and I've routinely thought, how do I make money off of this?
They're so easy. And I'm pulling up First Watch.
Man, this is oh yeah, First Watch. I think I might have a problem with them too. I don't see prices on their menu either.
Here, I have one with prices.
Egg menu PDF, maybe.
There you go. I just put both the PDFs in there.
Well done.
So I'm just going to look at the chicken and waffles. I've got another broken egg. I've got shrimp and grits and chicken and waffles, right? $14.29 and $10.99. I mean, there's an exploit. So $14.99 for shrimp and grits, chicken and waffles. Yeah. Chicken and waffles, $10.99.
Yeah.
My pancakes. Ooh, no, that's waffles. There we go. Buttermilk
pancakes are $11.
Two buttermilk pancakes, $11.29.
All right.
So at Breakfast Club, I got 3 pancakes and a waffle for $14.
Do I have to go round up my forks in this place, or do they take care of me?
I mean, at another broken egg, they'll take care of you, but you're going to spend forever waiting for a table. And by the time you get a table, you're going to spend forever getting your food and waiting for service, because they understaff their restaurant, in my opinion.
Okay, so I'm gonna do a parallel of this in a place that doesn't offend me. Have you been to Hugo's? Probably Hugo's. I think the H is probably silent.
No, but I think you are skirting the fact that we're exploiting different types of food for different races here.
No. So if that place is expensive, then maybe they're just expensive. But it could also be that I've never been there, so I can't speak to like the level of quality, or like service. Is it like an ambiance perspective? Are you paying for a really expensive real estate? Because Breakfast Club is not. It's in a D- part of town.
I mean, it's in a normal. You can get. I mean, it's in Vintage, which is
It's
normal-ish around here.
Vintage is no, that's not Heights.
No, it's suburbia.
I'm trying to look up images. This place looks like. Oh, I got it. Yeah, all right. It's nice. It's not fancy.
It's nicer than Denny's. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. There's one place that sells food so it's Hugo's, Hugos. They have the best breakfast buffet I've ever been to, and I'm normally not a buffet person, but they have the best. Fundamentally, their menu food is probably really good too. But the best breakfast buffet I've ever been to in my whole life is at Hugo's. It's on Westheimer, I think. It's down by Common Bond Bakery, which is also really good. Anyways, it's Latin food. I don't think it's Mexican in particular. I had some stuff from
Montrose area,
interior of the continent. It was like,
talk about expensive.
But it is next level gourmet, blow your mind. It's not. You don't go there to have 3 cheese enchiladas and rice and beans. Like, it's not that. If they were selling cheese enchiladas and rice and beans for $17, I'd have an issue. They're selling things where the ingredients had to be flown in particularly to make that dish, because those ingredients, those vegetables, those herbs, those spices, those peppers, whatever, they're just not available here.
They flew in all of their ingredients.
Not all of them. What I'm saying is that they have stuff on the menu that you can't source here.
Got it.
That has some of that stuff. Has to Hugo's Houston breakfast buffet. Google that, Houston.
Yeah, I'm looking at their menu right now.
Okay, yeah, and then just Google images on Hugo's Houston breakfast buffet and look at the pictures of that thing.
It looks really good.
It's unbelievable. Now Latin food again is using lower tier cuts of meat that are usually simmered for a really long time to make them tender. The stuff that they're selling, generally speaking, is not. There's no caviar in this place. You're not eating lobster tail. That's not its function. It's food made by a culture that doesn't have a lot of money.
Okay.
And their food is brilliant. It's amazing. But they have elevated what they've done to make it worth the price difference. They're not just saying come and eat here because it's Mexican food and now we're going to charge you $17 for enchiladas, which I've been to places like that and it bothers me. But this place is I come out of there educated. I've tried things I've never had before when I go there. And that to me makes it worth the difference. But if I go to Breakfast Club and I have, shrimp and grits for whatever it was, and I'm refilling my own tea and I'm getting my own fork and I'm having to find the hot sauce over on the bus table or on the side, as I'm sitting around, all I'm thinking of is this is just exploiting the fact that white people feel guilty about what's going on in America. And instead of actually doing something about it, they're going to go eat grits and feel better. There.
So that's a pretty strong statement to make. Yeah. Just going to say,
Sure. That's why I said it was going to be unpopular when I started.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, what are your feelings about capitalism, Chris?
Oh my gosh. Really? Are you really going to trigger me on this one?
I am, because what I'm hearing you say is that it's not okay for people to go create these businesses and charge what they feel is a fair price and profit off of that when they get a large following because they did something cliquish that everybody's like, ooh, it's cool.
No, it's not. Ooh, it's cool. It's you're white and you feel guilty about it. So come eat here and you'll feel a little bit better about your whiteness.
Is that their motto? Is that preaching somewhere? Do they whisper it in your ear when you walk up to get a table?
Go there and look around. Go there.
Where?
That's the vibe of the place.
Where is this coming?
Would it be okay for me to open up a restaurant that looked like a Nazi concentration camp and sold a pot of beans for $17?
Well, hold up. You were like, where is this coming from? Hold on. No. What about the inside of this restaurant?
It wasn't the restaurant. It was the people that were eating there, and it was the people that were working there,
Well,
and the
they
whole
can't
thing
eat.
just
They
it
can't
just
decide where they want to go eat.
they were, and I was judging them all harshly. I'm not saying I'm fair. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying that when I was there eating my stupid $17 shrimp and grits, it should have been, $12 or less. I was looking around the situation and thinking, what not why does this exist? Because I wonder that about that Coney Island hot dog restaurant chain that's all over the place. Who is paying $8 for a hot dog? Like, that's a whole other thing. It's not that the restaurant it exists and they're selling food or whatever it is. It is this like cultural manipulation that I feel like is inherent in what they're doing. And I understand that the Nazi concentration camp is a little bit of a reach, but it's only a little bit of a reach.
You're using a lot of words like I feel. And
Yes,
you're
it's a
talking
feeling.
you're talking to somebody who like needs some.
I have no empirical evidence that Breakfast Club was built intentionally for the purposes of wringing money out of white people who feel guilty about being white. But that's the vibe I get when I'm there. That I don't get when I'm at Hugo's. I don't get when I'm at literally any other place. I've been to a ton. In fact, we went to a Jamaican restaurant, little joint downtown. It was another guy's night, actually. And it was awesome. Like, we had no idea the menu. I'd never had goat before. And the lady at the counter, like, she gave us samples of everything, and we had a fantastic time. We learned a ton about the food, and we were the only white folks there. I didn't feel exploited in any way. I felt like they were very educational and helpful to the fact that we wandered into an environment we had no idea what we were doing there, and they helped us, and it was really cool. I've had the same kind of experience when we go to some restaurants like in like the Koreatown. I hate to call it Chinatown because it's not really Chinatown. It's more Korean food than anything. But when we go there and I go to like Super H Mart and I'm trying to understand the vegetables I've never seen before and things like that, that I like getting to know other cultures. It's cool. I like that stuff. I like taking my kids into those environments and learning those kinds of things. And that was when we went to Breakfast Club, I had in my mind that we were going to be having kind of a classic Southern breakfast. One of the first places we went to when we moved here from Albuquerque. And I got there and I just felt dirty. I felt manipulated.
What about that experience made you feel dirty and manipulated?
Two things. That I took 3 kids to breakfast and it cost me $100. That's one. And then when I looked around the place, I saw no element of the service I received or the food I received that was anywhere near worth $100. That would have just been, I don't understand this business. They're probably going to go out of business soon, but it's not. That place is cracking busy.
I know. I've driven by and I've seen lines out of the door.
Why are people lying? Okay, so is that the only place to buy shrimp and grits or pancakes?
Let's see what the Yelp reviews say.
There are all kinds of, oh my gosh, me and Brittany went there over the weekend and it was just so fabulous. Parentheses, it was fun having breakfast with the darkies, close parentheses. It irritates me. Why is it so popular? Because, to be honest with you, there's a place, I'd have to look it up, in Galveston that they're pretty busy. They're not that busy. And they have the best shrimp and grits I've ever had in my life. They're right across the street from the ocean. And they're nowhere near as busy as Breakfast Club that's in some kind of not particularly fantastic part of town. It's impossible to park. You're standing outside waiting in line to get rushed through a line where you have to pour your own drink, get your own fork, and get your own hot sauce and find your own table for $100. Why is that one place so popular? Katie, this is my question. Why is it so popular?
I don't know. You have to ask the people that like it.
It's not the food. There is at least equally as good a food for half the price within a stone's throw of that place anywhere in that greater sort of Montrose area has got 1,000 amazing choices for food, including food of that particular genre. You can get pancakes and shrimp and grits and biscuits and gravy and all kinds of stuff for half the price anywhere else. Why is that one? It's a black run business. They're predominant within the Houston community. I think I've seen the guy pose with the mayor and stuff. Like they've done a really good job marketing that business, and I don't fault their entrepreneurship. And I don't. Any business can do whatever they want to do, but my feeling of that place is that they are popular because it manipulates guilt within the white community. And I don't want to let white people off the hook thinking that because they had grits on the weekend that they're fine.
I'm gonna
because there's more work to do than that.
Few of these reviews, because there are some reviews about one was about reverse racism.
Oh, yay!
But the other one, no. But
no, I've never read the reviews.
No, but one was the other. Hold on, I have to go back and.
I would not call reverse racism. I don't think they're being racist against white people. I think they're creating an environment where white people can feel like they have somehow done something noble because they ate grits with black people. I think it's empowering the shadow racism that lives in America. Maybe they don't intend
this
to
one. Yeah. So this one, Joe C. says reverse racist, or maybe I just had my. Oh man, I mean, these are some pretty bad reviews, but yeah, man, I don't even want to read it, but
yeah.
This one is not. This was a black individual walking in and felt extremely discriminated against, and said that they gave him shitty service. There's another one that says that they served multiple white families over them, and they had to wave their staff down to get any help. Yeah, all of the waitresses haloed white families that came after us, even after the bartender came out and gave us menus to another white family.
Yep. And why do you think they're doing that? Because they know that for whatever reason, when they go and they take care of those white folks, and this is a predominantly black staffed business, that the tips are going to be better. And I think it's because those white folks are going there so they can feel guilty about being closet racists. And I think this supports it, and it bothers me.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think I don't know. I'm going to have to stew on this one for a little bit, but
sure.
I find it hard to believe that there are enough white people out there that are intentionally going to a restaurant to feel better about themselves, because I feel like the society is still in a place where there are so many white people that can't even recognize their own biases, that they wouldn't even know to do that. So it's just hard for me to kind of get on that bandwagon.
Did you just drop the word bias to try and hook me back into the topic that we agreed we were going to talk about before?
Did I? I don't know. Maybe.
America, what you need to understand is that we had a clear agreement that we were going to talk about bias before this show started, and I have derailed us for a solid
53 minutes and 22 seconds.
It's been quality television, though. Okay, bias. Do you want to talk about bias, or do you want to talk about capitalism?
I want to understand your feelings about capitalism, because on top of the racial undertone of that conversation, right? The racial bias undertone.
Sure.
I think I heard that that you didn't necessarily like what people are able to do here in America to make a buck or two.
I would never go so far with any kind of social order suggestion to say that Breakfast Club should not exist, or there should be censored, or that anything should happen to them other than they should become rich and wealthy, and if they can make it succeed, then they make it succeed, and everything's fine. I don't like the back it is being built on top of, because I don't think that it is helping the dialogue in this country. I think it's providing an excuse to not consider the real problems. But that is a private business and they can do what they want. And I support business. I grew up in private business. My grandparents, like I said, they ran a restaurant for 30 years. I lived inside that place. And I want to get back to self-employment as quickly as possible too. I will say this about capitalism though, that I don't think it is a universal elixir to all society wellness. So things like healthcare, for example. Like imagine, let's just take it off to that hot topic for a second. Let's just talk about roads. Imagine if roads were privately created, right? And there was the Google freeway and the Microsoft Expressway.
Isn't the 99 Beltway privately funded?
Is it going to be owned by a private company?
I thought, I could be wrong. I thought somebody, and again, I have to Google it, but I thought somebody told me, because I was like, how did this go up so quickly? But it takes 40 million years to do anything on 290.
Yeah. So how are they going to make money off of that? Just tolls?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think that's the parallel I draw is that there are things in America like roads, like bridges, like libraries, even things, like public television and things like that, that are it is good that there are certain elements of our society that are run by the collective. Hesitate to say the word government because then everybody gets all triggered that government can't run anything. Well, maybe they can't. But things like prior to Social Security, old people just ate cat food and died. Right? So there is a benefit. It's true. So there is a benefit to having some level of social services. And as much as certain groups of politically aligned people want to scream socialism like it's some evil thing, meanwhile their grandma and grandpa sitting in in their retirement home or just at their house are pulling Social Security and Medicaid, not realizing, of course, those are social programs. There's lots of social programs, right? We have libraries because of social programs. Like I said, we have roads because of social programs. We agree as a society we want stuff to work for the collective, and so we build stuff. So the where capitalism starts to fall apart is things like private prisons, where a prison run for profit by a private company, their motive is to
It's
get,
to make money.
well, yeah, but how do they make money? By having as many people in jail as possible. So if you are a lobbyist employed by private prisons, what are you going to lobby for in Washington? Harsher sentencing, right? Not because it does society any good, but because it makes your shareholders more money. And that is fundamentally wrong to me, that we are going to create any element of our judicial system off the basis that it provides shareholders better profits. So as far as private business is concerned, I am very, very pro business, very pro capitalism, and the ability for any American to have to make a better mousetrap and to get out there and to do it, or to exploit white people for grits. Fine, enjoy it. I don't want to. I'm not going to eat there, but if you can make it happen, there's plenty of white people in River Oaks that will pay you $15 for grits. So go right ahead. Where I have a problem is when capitalism gets large enough that core services that are required by everybody are held hostage for $1. I think that's fundamentally wrong, and it's anti-American.
Say that last bit one more time.
That it's the whole last sentence, like the fundamentally wrong part. That small businesses, I support small businesses and their ability to go out. What did I say? To make a better mousetrap and go out and make $1. Where I struggle is when large businesses hold essential goods and services hostage behind some kind of, like a paywall money situation.
Can you give me a tangible example of what you're talking about right now?
Healthcare is a great example of this. So we let private companies, private insurance, and the Pfizers of the world decide. The last time I had a what was it? I had a, they thought it was a kidney stone, And so I went to the ER because the pain was like it was like 1,000 deaths. It was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And so it was late on a weekend, and so we went to the ER, and they put me in the CAT scan thing, with the big donut that goes around you, you know. And I rode in that machine for 2 minutes, and came out, and they looked, and they couldn't find anything, and we went on, and they gave me other pills, and I was fine eventually. Um, then I saw the bill for that few minute ride in that machine, and it was $14,000. That is not new technology. We didn't just invent that thing, right? They're not recouping their R&D money or whatever stupid argument they've got. Those things are established. That technology is been around. They've made their money off the R&D. Now private business knows I'm at the ER, literally at the ER in the hospital. I can't shop around. I'm just going to go in the tube, and they're going to charge me $14,000 for it because they can. And that to me is unreasonable. I as a consumer, I have no protection against that.
Let me ask you this question. I'm just going to ask questions today because sometimes I don't have replies. But do you feel that there is a better healthcare system that exists today relative to cost and quality and access to care, like all three combined? Do you think that there is a better system out there than what we have access to in the US? And
I do.
why?
I do. Sabrina, um, one of the arguments that I hear on this topic is that, well, yeah, if you want to wait 6 months to see a doctor, then have socialized medicine. Otherwise, I prefer American medicine, where if I get sick, I can go in.
Did you have to put the accent on that, Chris?
What accent did I use?
You just had like a very otherwise it was like Scarlett O'Hara.
Oh, Laurie, I do declare. No.
You really had to go there.
Anyways, so I will just go see Dr. Davis, and he will just write me a prescription. I will feel fine, and I will be out in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. No, so Sabrina, kidney issues, right?
Yes.
She has a nephrologist. She's on the donor list. This is not a minor thing.
Right.
There was a scheduling snafu with her checkup appointment, where they go in, she does labs, and they see where everything is at on the 20% of one kidney remaining function she's got in her whole body. And it's just not a minor deal. And because of some scheduling thing, they had to move it. This was just a week ago or something like that. And they pushed her appointment. The next available opportunity to meet with the nephrologist is December from now. And that is not the only story of things like that has happened. So I rebut immediately.
Is that just I just want to put into context, are we talking pre-COVID or post-COVID?
This right now. We're waiting.
Okay, so I just want to make sure we're including the COVID reference, where our hospital system is just
yes, this is
more than
that's true, but not the nephrologist, right? Not the nephrologist, not the kidney specialist. They shouldn't be overwhelmed with COVID cases.
Not necessarily COVID cases, but when you think about this is completely unrelated and related at the same time. I was reading or I was scanning articles because I haven't had a chance to read much lately, but the UK had to bail out a US company in order to essentially they're facing food shortages because of, I want to say, access. They were having I need to look this article up, but long story short, UK bails out this US company to avoid food shortages because of something this company is experiencing in the US, right?
Okay.
So I'm just thinking, right, a nephrologist, you're right, they're not necessarily seeing a bunch of COVID cases or maybe even any. However, are they experiencing issues with the taxation on the current healthcare system under the current construct? That's all I'm getting at.
From my observations of this, just while sort of watching Sabrina go through this, what it appears is that I can only imagine how much it costs for a hospital to keep nephrologists on staff. They're specialists, wicked specialists, right? This isn't the general practitioner type thing. And I think that based upon nothing other than money, because I have in all my living years, I have never seen anything motivate the way that money does in business. That if you have a choice of having one nephrologist overworked and make your patients wait 3 months for an appointment, or you have an opportunity to have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 so that people can get in and see them, but now you've got 4 or 5 nephrologists on the books making, I don't know how much money they make. Do you
I have
know
an answer for you.
how much do they make?
Salary.com says 190 to 320 per year. ZipRecruiter is 170 to 380, and ERI out of Dallas is 270 to 460 per year.
Okay.
And I also looked up the number of nephrologists in the United States. There are 8,000 adult and only 500 pediatric.
And that's not a lot. That's not
No.
a lot. So is that because nobody wants to go into nephrology? Is that because hospitals just won't hire enough nephrologists to like do the job? My fundamental gut, and I don't have any basis of this, but my fundamental gut is telling me that the medical industry works like any other industry, and that it is trying to provide the least amount of product and service possible for the maximum amount of money, and they are
Absolutely.
finding right. Nobody's going to tell.
Absolutely. Why have 2 nephrologists when you only need 1?
Right, exactly, and
Yeah.
just make those
No.
patients wait a little longer, right?
Mhm.
So that to me is where capitalism meets necessary services that consumers have no ability to like shop around for. I can't go and there's she is within that system. That's where her Medicaid is locked in. Like she doesn't have a choice to go like, well, I'm going to go to nephrology.com and find another place that's got more services. So this is where she goes because this is where her insurance will pay for where she needs to go. So like my thought process on that is that things like healthcare, when they are privately run, they're run for profit for the benefit of the shareholders. And I
Okay.
don't think that should exist. I think that healthcare should be in the service of the people that are sick.
So, but I asked you, do you feel like there's a better healthcare system out there anywhere? You said
How
yes.
many nations have nationalized healthcare programs?
How many what?
How many nations have? Let's look it up. How many nations have national healthcare, universal healthcare? Let's see. Countries with universal healthcare in 2021.
43
That's a lot.
countries. 43 countries. How many countries are there total? Are you smarter than a fifth grader?
No, I'm not. Are you looking at worldpopulationreview.com?
No, this is internationalinsurance.com.
I'm gonna the one I'm looking at.
Oh, in the world population, I see that one too. Yeah.
Click on that one because there's a map. And tell me that the United States is in good company when it comes to our choice to not take care of the medical needs of our citizens. Look at who's blue, who is covered, and who's not.
Okay, so Canada is covered, but I just pulled this because I remember when I was, I don't know, a teenager and I'm watching like 2020 or something. They were talking about Canadian healthcare, and there was a lady that they were interviewing, and she was talking about how she needed some sort of cardiac surgery, and she did. She literally paid out of pocket to come to the U.S. because she couldn't get the services she needed in the time frame that she needed. So anyway, so as I was asking you that question, I went ahead and Googled Canadian healthcare. That's the website that I pulled that statement from. But though they have access to free healthcare, it looks like 2/3 of Canadians also have private insurance on top of that, which indicates to me that while the healthcare may be free, not all of it is free. It states that in the article. And it's expensive enough to have to go and purchase private health insurance to subsidize. So they're blue on that map that you sent me, But what I'm reading from commonwealthfund.org indicates to me that maybe that really shouldn't be blue. Maybe that's more of a, powder blue.
Yeah, I'm looking at what I learned as a Canadian reporting on healthcare in America, what Americans can learn from Canada. I was going to see if I can gloss on this. It's true that in Canada, every person has healthcare coverage, but not all costs are covered by the government. Private or employer-based insurance pays for dental visits, eye care, and prescription drugs. Oh, okay, so their system doesn't cover everything. That's
right.
What the insurance is for, is to cover the gaps for the things the government doesn't provide.
Right. So that map that you showed me has them blue, but really they're half blue, half white. Prescription drug coverage. I mean, prescriptions are freaking expensive.
But they're not as expensive in Canada, though, right? Or Canadian prescriptions are cheaper, right? Canadian prescription costs versus US. I know. I mean, I've seen this everywhere, that our prescriptions are cheaper in Canada than in the US. Canada offers the same drugs at cheaper prices because the Canadian government, which foots the bill for prescription drugs, will not pay for a drug if a government reviewed board believes the cost is excessive. In the US, even generic drug prices can rise precipitously with little advance warning. So it sounds like they control pricing. Maybe don't necessarily provide the service for everything, but dramatic. Here's another one. This is CPPI, whatever that is. Drug prices, US versus Canada. Let me see if I can find anything I freaking recognize. Well, so the savings across the board is like between 54 and 81% cheaper in Canada than it is here. And from what it sounds like, it's because Canada doesn't allow prescription drug companies, if they're going to sell their drugs in Canada, they can't price gouge. Here in the United States, capitalism wins, shareholders win. So when I talk about things like I don't know what national healthcare system would work best in the United States, but unbridled capitalism doesn't appear to be working. And I say this,
but there's there's something we need to consider in that argument. Mm-hmm. According to, I'll have to go find out which article this is specifically referring to, but a study in 2020 estimated that the median cost of getting a new drug into the market was $985 million. The average cost was $1.3 billion, which was much lower compared to previous studies, which have placed the average cost of drug development at 2.8.
And I would support drugs being expensive for the season of time while the company that produces them.
And they do go down. I mean, you buy Amoxil now and I pay $3 for a full prescription, right? And that's on the crappy insurance coverage we have.
But what did the insurance company make?
That was $3 that I paid?
No, that was your copay, right? Because your insurance company picked up the other side of that, right?
Not the insurance company I got right now.
You pay for your prescription full throttle by yourself?
Yeah, up until I meet my deductible on it.
Yeah, I guess I do too.
Chris, do you know what a high deductible health plan is?
Oh, brother. Yes. I'm aware. I'm aware. I wasn't aware, and so this is a question for you. If when I go to CVS and I get a prescription, because I have a few and they're pretty cheap, they also have my insurance on file. Like, even though I am paying a certain amount, is UHC or whoever, are the insurance companies negotiating a payment, or is that's a retail price?
We get a discount, and it's the same with your healthcare provider, right? So I got a cortisone shot in my shoulder. I paid $190 for the shot. My provider billed $360 for it. United said, no, you're not billing that much for it. And my person is only paying $190 for it.
Mm-hmm.
So United didn't pay anything out. They don't pay anything out on that because I haven't met my deductible. And until and unless I meet my deductible, they're not going to pay anything out. Not on my plan. So
yeah.
I get a discount because my provider is partnered with United, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
So, but philosophically, if we just
Which is
back
the
up
same
to
thing
10,000,
Canada's doing on the drugs, by the way.
If business, particularly large business, corporate business that has their responsibilities to shareholders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club is just making money because they can, right? Whatever. But like a health insurance, I mean, a pharmaceutical company, they're beholden to the shareholders in order to produce the same thing that every other company is, the least amount of product for the most amount of money. That's just
Mm-hmm.
inherent in what capitalism is about. Does it make sense that healthcare as a concept would be under that rule? That we want healthcare to be the least services possible for the most amount of money.
So, I have probably a pretty capitalistic response to this one.
All right.
Well, think
I gotta
about
play Monopoly with you on game.
think about any business, healthcare or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
How profitable can they be if they are constantly staffing for the busiest time of year or the busiest time of day, right? Let's use a restaurant. Let's use the Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club cannot staff their restaurant, at what, 3:00 in the afternoon when people don't want breakfast like they do at 8:00 on a Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They can't do that all the time just because they know, like, I don't know, a wedding party could come in, I don't know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with a hospital and healthcare, right? Like, I can't produce umpteen amounts of prescription drugs hoping that somebody's going to get sick enough to actually go to the doctor, get prescribed that, make it to CVS and go pick it up. Like, they can't do that. So,
do you believe what you just said?
I
do. You
do.
believe what you just said?
I do believe what I just said.
That pharmaceutical companies are not manufacturing pills because they're waiting for people to get sick enough to have enough orders.
I think that somebody is sitting behind 3 PC monitors, looking at Excel spreadsheets.
For sure.
Think absolutely. This is how much we are producing because this is how much people are buying.
Right.
Yes.
That part would be true even if there was some, even whether it be minor level oversight or full Bernie Sanders, healthcare for all, right? Medicare for all. There would still be a reasonable need for somebody to sit behind a spreadsheet and make sure we're not making too much lisinopril, right? We don't want warehouses full of this stuff. The question is, should there be, is that the one of the areas where we want profit to shareholders to drive cost and the level of service and the decisions being made? Would you
what else would drive that decision?
If
give me an alternate, give me a good alternate to pick from.
If so, like, let me think. In every town there is a group of people that they're employed by the city or the state or whatever level of people, whatever level they're employed by, and they review plans for new subdivisions. I know this because I used to work in civil engineering 9 million years ago, and it was my job when I was first hired to take the plans down to county, and somebody in a short sleeve shirt and a pocket protector would take the plans, and they would go and review, and they would make sure that this met safety requirements. For example, there was one subdivision we built for a senior community where the roads were really tiny because it was supposed to be like a little village where you would take your dog out for a walk. The main roads were not really meant to be driven on. There was a back artery lane, and all the garages were in the rear of the houses.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, cool. And so the entrance to this thing was there's a berm and the road went up and it went down. And the when we took the plans down there, some person who worked in that office figured out that that hill, that little berm that road was going to be paved over if they followed the rules, would high center a fire truck if it were to ever drive over it. I know this because I was the one that then had to draw a fire truck in AutoCAD and to tell the engineers how much they needed to cut in order so that the fire truck could get over it properly. Those people, that kind of stuff, or like building inspectors to make sure buildings don't fall down, food inspectors to make sure that my catfish and grits doesn't kill me after I pay $17 for it, whatever it is. Those are all government paid employees who are set out for the purpose of the greater well-being under a set of rules that they dispassionately administer. Right? The person isn't saying, well, I personally feel like that road is wrong, or my constituents think that, or the company that sells, I don't know, paving materials has an interest in the way you're going to pave this thing. They're looking at it saying, for the public good, for safety and things like that, you need to make that different because people, they'll burn up otherwise.
So am I hearing that you're saying the government would make better decisions on our behalf relative to healthcare?
I'm saying they would make dispassionate positions that would not be influenced by money.
Really?
I don't think that, because I'm not saying Joe Biden is going to decide what your medications are. There are still those people working at county know engineering. They have degrees. They went to school. They're smart about that stuff. The people that do health inspections, the people that do building inspections, that tell electricians that they wired the freaking thing wrong and if they don't fix it, the house is going to burn down. They're smart, right? But they work for the government.
So what's the function of a lobbyist? And do they get paid to do that job?
The function of a lobbyist is to influence policy in the favor of the private companies that they are paid to represent.
Okay. That they are paid to represent in private companies.
Yes.
If the government employed individuals to make decisions about our healthcare system that we paid into through our taxes, as opposed to, I mean, what, through our insurance today, right? Which,
sure.
Okay, well, Canada's got to pay in via taxes and to a private insurance company, apparently, to get decent access. But let's assume we're just paying the government. Do you feel that lobbyists and private companies would still not be driving decisions that the government would then be making on our behalf relative to the healthcare industry that we now have to pay into our taxes considerably in order to afford, and most likely would still need to rely on our employers for insurance, private insurance, to subsidize, like Canada?
That's a valid thought. So let's walk.
I have a valid thought.
You have all kinds of valid thoughts.
Where's the confetti?
You have all sorts of valid thoughts. So let's walk that one through.
Yes, let's walk that one through, Chris.
So what we're suggesting is that if healthcare was run like the county planning department, right?
Yeah, and government employed Joe Smith,
who went to college for this sort of stuff, right? For cost analysis and understands pharmaceutical manufacturing and all that other kind of stuff, whatever would be needed. I don't know. That if that there was
pennies on the dollar, by the way,
there was an agency that was in charge of that sort of thing. But you're suggesting, of course this is true, that the physical drugs themselves would still be manufactured by private companies.
All the durable medical equipment, right? The funding for nurses. Let's look at the funding for teachers, Chris, and firefighters and policemen. It's not great. I know, because I was a teacher. I made $38,000 my first year of teaching. Right? I was serving 40 campuses at the district level, barely making $60,000.
Yes.
40 campuses.
Why?
Right?
Why is that? Why is that?
Because it's a publicly funded.
Are you saying that inherent in public funded organizations, and this is not resolvable, that inherent in public funding is the people who participate in those publicly funded organizations are inherently underpaid
Yeah.
as a natural quality of
Yeah.
that service? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, partially because our taxes are paying into it, partially because I don't think our government makes great decisions on where our money gets spent or how it gets spent. Right? I mean, that's where the money's coming from. My
I don't know the answer to this question. Who
Yeah.
decides what teacher salary will be? What sets that number?
So interesting. I mean, I worked in a charter school, right? So part of the funding came from the state of Texas. That's a good question. I don't know who decides what that scale looks like, but I do know that the scale for the charter school system was considerably, I don't want to say considerably, it probably started out 5,000 to 7,000 less than any of the neighboring public schools. But
Okay.
I think Texas Education Agency and the state of Texas would probably have some controls or parameters around what those salaries would look like, or a school board is having to make that decision based on the funding that they are getting in. But again, I would think that TEA or somebody's got to say, you've got to reserve, I don't know, there's got to be like a threshold that they can't go below or something like that, I would think.
So just a quick Google. This is not deeply researched. But it does. This is saying that, of course, they're employed by their local school districts, and to your point, those school districts are funded with a certain amount of money from the budget, right?
Yep.
The state budget and the federal budget, and they have to use whatever money they're given in order to make it all work, right?
Right.
Whether
Yeah.
teachers or keeping the lights on or buying pencils or whatever.
Can't pay teachers enough. Teachers are constantly complaining about resources. So I mean, think all these things. Police are complaining about how much they're getting paid, and they're putting their lives on. Well, teachers are even putting their lives on the line when they go into those schools these days. It feels like, but I mean, firefighters. Like, if we can't fix these issues in those government-funded institutions, how in the hell are we supposed to even fathom a world where the government could solve this problem of healthcare costs?
So
Because at the end of the day, my opinion is, if it goes to the government, somebody is pocketing off of this shit, and it's not us.
Yes, that could be true. But I will concede that even in the context of
More confetti.
Even in the context of like building permits and things like that, I think our former president can testify to the opportunities to make money on the side or save money on the side by knowing the right people and greasing the right hands and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and didn't Becky bring something up about was it Dick Cheney? Was it him?
Well, Dick Cheney and Halliburton. I mean,
yeah,
clearly. Yeah, clearly there's influence there. Coming back to the cop thing for a second, because this pay thing is interesting. This is a good trail. So the national average wage for a police officer is $67,000, which, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is a little over 15,000 more than the average annual salary. So
that's shit for somebody who literally is putting their lives on the line for us. I'm just going to say that right now.
That's fair. I would agree with you. Teachers probably come in at half that.
I mean, I don't know what the median salary is.
Let's look it up.
I would guess somewhere 40s.
United States. Oh, this is 62. That was the average national 2017-2018 was 60 grand. Okay, that's actually better than I thought. Let's do.
Well, remember, you've got lots of teachers who've been there for 20 years, right? So their pays, yeah.
I'm looking at firemen too, just for fun. Do fire. Ever
Same
heard
thing
of
for the policeman, though. Can you
That's it.
imagine working 20 years and your
Uh,
life on the line, only getting 60, 70 grand
so
for it?
firefighters, the best paid make 70 grand, where the lowest, I think the entry folks get like 35. And I suspect that's probably true for teachers and police too,
Yep.
is that that's an average from detective all the way down to the guy with the traffic cones, you know?
Yeah.
So there's going to be a range there. But so, okay. So let's unpack that one for a second. Pay levels for civil servant jobs, all of them, police, fire, the whole teachers, the guys at the county planning commission that drive some beat up Datsun to work. I mean, I knew all those guys, and none of them looked like they were like really dropping it. I mean, you go to the DMV, right? Do they look overly paid? Like they don't. Like they're
No, and
barely.
you don't get great service.
No,
Just
you
like,
sure don't.
I mean, I wonder how much the Breakfast Club employees are getting paid.
We should probably look it up. I gotta look up. I'm gonna have to. I could
You
never
might,
apply. I could never apply for a job. They would never hire me. But it would be, you know. Yeah, I said that out loud too. Anyways, we're off the topic. Here's the question I wanted to ask. Um, why are schools not funded to a level that compensates teachers based upon their obvious value to society? Meanwhile, trillions of dollars go into national defense, for example, and we spend more on national defense than like the next 26 countries combined, and all but one of them is an ally.
power. It's all about the power.
Say more. You can keep singing if you want to, but tell me more.
That's it. It's all about the power. We, as a country, I mean, God, like it's not even the government. I mean, it is, but it's more than that, right? Like,
oh yeah,
we flaunt our American flags and we're like, Americans, 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 like this is the culture you want to live in. And well, except for the fact that we don't want to let anybody in. Ding, ding. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just, we want to be the
thank
most
God
powerful.
we're all Native Americans, and we can speak with confidence that this is our land.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Anyways,
yeah.
so unpack the power thing. Tell me more about why we don't pay teachers more. Why don't we do it?
Oh, I mean, if we're really gonna get down to it, right? I mean, number one, we don't require as much of our teachers. If you look at countries like Denmark and the Netherlands, right, their teachers are regarded at the same level as doctors and attorneys, but their teachers are also as educated as doctors and attorneys, and they're paid in the same manner.
Yeah.
Thereby, they have one of the highest regarded educational or primary education systems that I'm aware of in the world. I mean, it's also, Denmark is one of the happiest countries, if not the happiest country to live in, reportedly. And they have amazing communities where they all, look out after each other's kids, and like there are books written about this. Anyway, long story short,
those countries are dropping it in terms of like civilian happiness, without question.
Yeah. So, I mean, but they all also live in very tiny homes and don't enjoy the, I don't know, as many of the conveniences as we do, I suppose, right? We live this like life of convenience. Everything's accessible to us, and we seem to value that more than we value education and community and things like that. So I think that's kind of where it comes in from that perspective, right? That's the Katie, the Chris, the individuals. From a government perspective, staying in power means that I have to continue to suppress the people that are not in power. So if I don't fund it and they don't have access to it, how are they going to grow?
This is formulating in me a higher level thought process on why we can't have nice things. And it relates to this. Yeah. Why can we, what is a fundamental reason, I think, why universal health care would never work. And I think it ties into why do we not pay our teachers enough and things like that. It's what you were just saying, that as a society, we do not value those things enough to compensate them to the degree that they should be compensated. Right? We just don't. So um we choose by who we vote and put into office, and we choose by just this the governmental system at large that we empower, and that includes lobbyists and everything else, that there are going to be certain things that are going to make a lot of money, and there are going to be certain things that don't. And even if we say, oh, we love our teachers, in reality nobody's going to say, okay, well, I'll take a 5% tax increase so that all the teachers can get paid better. Right? Nobody's willing to do that. So when it
But
comes
it
to
should be
health,
more than just a tax increase.
I
We should have
agree.
better management of our fiscal
Do,
environment
do you
when it
think do
comes.
you think schools are poorly managed fiscally? Is there waste? I mean, like egregiously so?
I think that that's like asking, do you think businesses are poorly managed financially, right? Like you have to look at each one individually.
Okay, I
Individually,
didn't know
you
if it
have
was. I've never been in the industry, so I didn't know if it was endemic to the.
no. You have you have an individual budget for each school, right? I mean, it's going to get handed down to you the same way the school district itself is going to have to dole out money. So,
Yeah.
um, I think you have to assess it on a school by school basis, and certain schools are going to be great, and others are not going to be so great at that.
So does Norway? Norway was in that group of countries that has nationalized healthcare, right?
I think so.
I think all of those have free
They
health.
also they also give really steep penalties for DUIs. Like we're talking like $900 out of the gate, if not more.
Yeah.
And as a result, when they cracked down on that so hard, um, I was there for work a few years back, and like it was a huge, you go on a work trip, everybody's like taking people out to happy hour when they come here, right? Like whatever, like let's live it up and party. When you go there, they're like, would you like to come to our house and we're going to send a taxi for you because we're not going to send you home in a car. It's
Yeah.
really kind of a cool place.
Because the collective society has said we are. Oh man, boy, you're tapping into some dangerous stuff here. The collective
We're going
society
to have
has
to do
said,
this another night though.
yeah, we
We're
are
already
going
almost
to.
2 hours
That's
in.
right. We are.
Yeah.
We're going to set aside some of
Okay.
our unbridled freedom for the safety of all.
But they're not setting aside freedoms. They are choosing to respect a communal agreement
Mhm.
or understanding that, they're going to like, but we're also talking about driving under the influence, right? Like, how can you argue with that?
Try making the American criminal sentencing match Norway, and somebody would try and make the argument that the
But
punishment is.
That's another, we're definitely going to have a whole other hour for this because Norway's, what I don't want to call it a prison system, but um, it's not like ours. Like they have a ton of efforts around true rehabilitation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely not like ours. So if you're going to jail, you're not really going to jail like you're going to jail here. You're going to a rehab facility, and there may not be a sentence applied to you, from what I understand. You just get
Right.
out when they say that you're better.
And you're better. Okay. So all of this stuff then, if we're gonna say that to some degree, um, Norway is somehow able to make the nationalized healthcare thing work. They're somehow able to make this prison thing you're talking about work, and the sentencing for DUIs, and they all like their wooden shoes. There's a bunch of things that seem to be working fairly well, and Norway is not on fire socialist hellscape. Right? Somehow it's working, and their people are happy. What do you see? I think I see something that is different between the things that you're describing about Norwegian people and the way that they administer and accept their place in society and their relationship with their government and things like that, that is different than the way we do it here in America. What do you think is the difference?
Hold on, you're gonna have to ask me that question again because I was Googling as you did that, and
Got it.
Norway, from a healthcare perspective, man, they're paying into it from their taxes, and their employers and the employees are also contributing.
Yeah, I saw that. It said all hospitals are funded by the national budget. However, while medical treatment is free of charge for any person younger than the age of 16, residents who have reached adulthood must pay a deductible each year before becoming eligible for the exemption card.
Yeah. I would love to know, like, I want to dive more into the budget of a family in one of these countries like Denmark, Norway, Canada,
Sure.
and better understand what that looks like. How much are they getting paid? And I mean, I know when you're talking about, Norway and places like that, their tech industry is pretty stellar. So they're probably, I don't know. And if they've got
So
great education systems and great communities,
they do, and their kids cut out at noon, and their executives don't make exorbitant pay relative to their workers. So what's the fundamental difference? I have an idea. I think the fundamental difference is that some countries, some societies, not geographical, political boundaries, but some groups of human beings have organized themselves into a higher level of compassion and empathy for each other, and they see each other as part of a whole. And some countries have identified the individual as being the most important thing.
I have a parting movie to leave you with.
Okay.
On this. This is a good one. I think this is a good segue, or it's common ground here. But I was watching it on Prime, and I think it's called The Lady in the Van. Let me confirm that real quick. Yeah, The Lady in the Van. I'll get you a link. I'll put it in there.
That's got good people in it.
Yeah, it's
Jim Broadbent. He died, didn't he?
maybe.
I think he did. I like him.
Here's the link. You've already looked it up, but for everybody
Yeah,
else at home, yeah, part of, or there's a scene in that movie where, I mean, the lady's in a van, right? It's this old lady. She's absconding from the law, and she's in this van that she goes and she stays in front of one house until essentially she has to move or decides to move, and then goes to another house. And one of the kids asks something, or I forget if it was a kid or one of the characters asks, why do they keep putting up with her? And their response was, well, she's just part of our community. So they bring her food, and, it's a good story. But yeah, they value people, right? It's the same way other societies value, or regard, aging individuals as wise and take care of them instead of sending them off to be taken care of by other people. So, but their societies also support that.
So my parting thought on this then, and we can unpack this more. I think common ground is this is a core element of what we talk about anyways, is that societies that have organized themselves in a way to where they are mindful to the group, right?
Yeah.
That they value the collective more than they value their individual selves, are able to do things like universal health care, or to compensate their teachers better, or to do whatever. They're able to pull these things off and still somehow maintain a very, very high like mental state of happiness and collective joy that seems to constantly, these countries are always at the top of the charts when it comes to happiness, right? Just general citizenry satisfaction. That somehow they're able to have all of these programs and choose to fund them. I am proposing because those societies inherently have a more developed sense of community and the value of it. And that I think if we were to look at the opposite, let's go find countries that maintain the spirit of the individual as being the most important thing, and that it's all about me. We'll never be able to mobilize services that benefit everybody because it doesn't help the one, and there's always going to be a one, right?
Yep.
And if we as a nation, so my argument to Bernie Sanders would be then, you want what your ideas are, but you want it with these people, the ones that live here right now. I'm not sure those two balance out, right? Let's bring in some Norwegians and maybe we can pull it off. But In America, I think we have a collective mindset shift problem that if the mindset shifted towards compassion and empathy for others first, all these other questions would sort of sort themselves out. They wouldn't be a debate. You know what I mean? It would be like, well, yeah, of course we would do that. Why wouldn't we do that? Why would our executives want pay that is 1,000 times what the workers make? That doesn't make any sense. The leaders would be like, no, that's embarrassing. Why would I take that much money from my people? That it would just happen. It would just work. People would be kinder to each other because it's inherent in the system. Well, that just has never been the American philosophy.
For better land of prosperity.
That's right. Well, yeah, as long as you can stand on the neck of somebody else to get where you need to go.
God, I hope that's not me.
I think it might be a little. It might be a little. It might be me too.
Really?
No. The your neck is getting stood on.
Oh no, I meant like God. I don't want to ever be that person that's standing on somebody's.
Oh, that's doing the standing on the neck. No, I would not.
Yeah, which is probably why. Yeah,
and that's why I don't like Breakfast Club. Mm-hmm. I feel like this was wildly productive and super on point. Thank you for leading us in this discussion about bias.
Ah, you're welcome.
We will totally talk about that again. There's going to be more shows. We have plenty to talk about, so that's no big deal.
We'll be here every week, folks.
All right. Thank you, America. Thank you, Katie. We'll see you.
Adios. Y'all have a good one.